Captain Riley Chen stared at the massive view screen as her ship, the Meridian, drifted through the empty void of space, 3 months into their exploration mission. And they had found nothing but dead planets and floating rocks. The crew was getting restless, and honestly, Riley was too. "Captain, we're picking up something strange on the sensors," called out Lieutenant Torres from his station. His voice had that excited edge that meant he found something worth investigating. Riley walked over to look at the readings. There, floating in the darkness about 2 million kilometers away, was a ship unlike anything she'd ever seen. It was huge, maybe twice the size of the Meridian, and it looked like someone had grown it rather than built it. The hull curved and twisted in ways that didn't make sense, covered in what looked like crystal formations that caught the light from nearby stars. "Is it moving?" Riley asked, keeping her voice calm even though her heart was racing. First contact. Protocols were clear, but seeing an actual alien ship was something else entirely. "Negative, Captain. It's just floating there. No energy signatures, no communications, nothing. It looks dead," Torres replied, running his hands through his dark hair the way he always did when he was nervous. Riley studied the readings for a long moment. Every instinct told her to be careful, but they were explorers. This is what they came out here to find. Send a standard greeting signal. All frequencies. Let them know we're peaceful. The bridge fell silent except for the soft hum of the ship's systems. Everyone waited, watching the communications board for any response. Minutes ticked by with nothing. "Should we get closer, Captain?" asked Dr. Kim, the ship's science officer. She was already pulling up analysis programs on her tablet, eager to study whatever they'd found. "Not yet. Keep scanning. I want to know everything about that ship before we make any moves," Riley ordered. She'd been in command for 5 years, and she'd learned that patience kept people alive in space. The next few hours were tense. The alien ship remained completely silent, showing no signs of life or movement. Riley's crew ran every scan they could think of, building up a picture of what they were dealing with. The ship was definitely artificial, but the materials were unlike anything in their databases. The crystal formations seemed to pulse with their own inner light, even though there was no detectable power source. "Captain, I'm reading massive internal spaces. This thing could hold thousands of people," reported Torres, his voice full of wonder. Riley made her decision. "Prepare a boarding party. Full environmental suits. Armed but weapons powered down. We go in peaceful but ready, an hour later." Riley found herself floating in the alien ship's docking bay, her magnetic boots clicking against what felt like living metal. The walls around them glowed with soft blue light, and the air felt thick and strange even through her suit's filters. "Stay close, everyone. We don't know what we're walking into," Riley whispered into her comm unit. Behind her, Torres and Dr. Kim followed, their scanner devices beeping softly as they recorded everything. The corridors were enormous, built for beings much taller than humans. The walls curved upward into shadows, and strange symbols pulsed along the surfaces like veins carrying light instead of blood. Everything felt alive, as if the ship itself was watching them. They made their way deeper into the vessel, following what seemed to be a main corridor. The silence was complete except for their own breathing and the soft sounds of their equipment. Riley couldn't shake the feeling that they were being led somewhere specific. Then they found the chamber. It was massive, with a ceiling that disappeared into darkness above. In the center sat what could only be described as a throne, carved from the same crystal material as the ship's hull. And on that throne, perfectly still, sat a being that took Riley's breath away. She was tall, maybe 7 feet, with skin that seemed to shift between pale blue and silver. Her hair flowed like liquid starlight, and even unconscious, there was something regal about her posture. Most striking were the crystal formations that grew from her temples and along her arms, pulsing with the same light as the ship. "Is she alive?" Dr. Kim whispered, her scanner working overtime. "Very much so," Riley replied, watching the steady rise and fall of the being's chest. "She's in some kind of stasis." As if responding to her words, the alien's eyes snapped open. They were completely silver, like mirrors reflecting the light around them. She looked directly at Riley, and something passed between them, recognition, curiosity, Riley couldn't tell. The being rose gracefully from her throne, moving with the fluid grace of someone born to command. When she spoke, her voice echoed in their minds rather than their ears. "You are not of this realm," the alien said, her mental voice carrying hints of surprise and something else, interest, maybe. Riley stepped forward, keeping her hands visible and away from her weapons. "We're explorers from Earth. We come in peace. I'm Captain Riley Chen of the human vessel Meridian." The alien tilted her head, studying Riley with those mirror-like eyes. "Human," she repeated, as if tasting the word. "I am Vexandra, commander of this vessel and daughter of the Zephyrian Empire." Her gaze never left Riley's face. "Your mind, is it different? Closed to me in ways I do not understand." Riley felt a strange pressure in her head, like someone trying to push through a door that wouldn't open. She pushed back instinctively, and Vexandra's eyes widened in what might have been surprise. "Fascinating," Vexandra said, circling Riley. "Like a predator studying prey, your species has natural barriers. Most beings cannot resist our influence." She paused directly in front of Riley. "Tell me, human captain, what brings you to this empty space?" "We're mapping this sector, looking for new worlds and new civilizations." Riley replied honestly. "We detected your ship and came to investigate." Vexandra smiled, and Riley noticed her teeth were slightly pointed. How wonderfully direct. "Most species grovel or flee when they encounter us. You simply investigate," she laughed. A sound like crystal chimes. "I find myself curious about you, Riley Chen of the humans." The way she said Riley's name made the captain's skin crawl. There was something possessive in her tone, something that spoke of a being used to taking whatever caught her interest. "We should probably get back to our ship," Riley said carefully. "We've confirmed contact. Our governments can work out formal relations." "Governments?" Vexandra looked genuinely puzzled. "You serve others, but you are clearly a leader yourself. I can see it in how you carry yourself, how your crew looks to you for guidance." Riley realized she was dealing with someone whose entire worldview was built on personal power and dominance. "We serve our people by choice. We explore so humanity can grow and learn." "Choice," Vexandra repeated, as if the concept was foreign to her. "How strange, among my people. The strong lead because they are strong. The weak follow because they must." She studied Riley again. "Yet you lead through this choice and your crew follows willingly. Even now, I can sense their loyalty to you." The alien commander began pacing again, her movements graceful and predatory. "I have conquered 17 worlds, Captain Riley Chen. I have claimed the strongest warriors of a dozen species as my personal guard. Yet none of them fascinate me as you do in these few minutes." Riley's hand moved instinctively toward her weapon, and Vexandra noticed immediately. "Peace, little captain. I mean you no harm." "Not yet." Her smile was sharp but not entirely unfriendly. "But I find myself wondering what it would be like to have someone like you choose to serve me. Someone who cannot be forced, who must be." Convinced, the temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. Riley realized she was dealing with someone who saw people as things to be collected, and she had just become the most interesting thing in Vexandra's collection. "We should go," Riley said firmly. "Our ship will be expecting us back." Vexandra nodded slowly. "Of course, but know this, Captain Riley Chen of the humans. You have awakened something in me that I did not know existed. A desire not just to conquer, but to truly possess, to make someone mine not through force, but through other means." As they made their way back to the docking bay, Riley could feel Vexandra's silver eyes following her every move. The alien commander walked with them, asking casual questions about human culture and technology, but Riley could sense the predatory intelligence behind every word. At the airlock, Vexandra placed a long, graceful hand on Riley's shoulder, even through the environmental suit. Riley could feel the alien's touch like ice. "Until we meet again, Captain," Vexandra said, her mental voice carrying promise and threat in equal measure. "And we will meet again. I find myself quite determined to continue our conversation." Back on the Meridian, Riley stood on the bridge watching the alien ship through the view screen. Her crew was excited, chattering about the successful first contact. But Riley felt only a growing sense of unease. "Captain, should we report this to command?" Torres asked, still grinning from the encounter. Riley nodded, but her attention was fixed on the alien vessel. As she watched, the crystal formations along its hull began to pulse faster, and the ship slowly turned to face them. "All stations, prepare for emergency departure." Riley ordered quietly. "Captain?" Dr. Kim looked confused. The meeting went well. She seemed friendly enough. Riley thought about the way. 3 days after their escape from the alien ship, Riley thought they were safe. She was wrong. "Captain, we've got company," Torres called from his station, his voice tight with worry. "It's her ship, closing fast on our position." Riley's blood ran cold. They had jumped through for different star systems, taken random routes, done everything possible to cover their tracks, yet somehow Vexandra had found them. "How is that possible?" Dr. Kim asked, looking up from her research files. "We made sure there were no tracking devices." "She doesn't need devices," Riley said grimly, remembering those silver eyes. "She's hunting us the old-fashioned way. She's reading our patterns, predicting where we'll go." The massive alien ship appeared on their view screen, its crystal formations glowing brighter than before. Riley could almost feel Vexandra's presence across the void of space. That predatory intelligence focused entirely on her ship. "Incoming transmission," reported Lieutenant Hayes from communications. Riley straightened her uniform, put it through. Vexandra's image filled the screen, and Riley noticed immediately that the alien commander had changed. She wore different clothes now, something that looked almost like formal wear, and her hair was styled in intricate braids that held small crystals. She looked like someone preparing for a special occasion. "Captain Riley Chen," Vexandra said, her voice carrying that same mental resonance as before. "Did you really think you could run from me?" "We're not running," Riley lied. "We're continuing our mission." Vexandra laughed, and the sound made Riley's crew shift uncomfortably. "Such spirit. This is exactly why you fascinate me so." Another species would have begged for mercy by now. "What do you want?" Riley asked bluntly. "I want to offer you something wonderful," Vexandra replied, leaning forward in what looked like a command throne. "Join me willingly, and I will show you wonders beyond your imagination. I will give you power, resources, entire worlds to explore. All you have to do is accept that you belong to me." Riley's jaw tightened. "I don't belong to anyone. Not yet," Vexandra said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "But you will. I have decided to court you properly, as befits someone of your obvious strength and intelligence." Before Riley could respond, the transmission cut off. Seconds later, their ship shuddered as something struck the hull. "What was that?" Riley demanded. Torres checked his readings. "Some kind of energy beam. It didn't damage us, but it attached something to our hull." Riley's mind raced. "Get us out of here. Jump to hyperspace." "I can't, Captain. Something's interfering with our jump drive. We're stuck in normal space." On the view screen, Vexandra's ship moved closer, its weapons powered but not targeting them. Riley realized this wasn't an attack, it was a demonstration. "She's playing with us," Riley said quietly. "She could destroy us anytime she wants, but she's not going to. She wants to prove she can catch us whenever she chooses." Over the next hour, they tried everything: evasive maneuvers, emergency repairs, even hiding in an asteroid field. Nothing worked. Vexandra's ship followed them effortlessly, always staying just close enough to remind them who was in control. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the pursuit stopped. The alien ship pulled back and disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the Meridian alone in the void. "She's gone," Torres reported, sounding confused. "The interference is clearing too. We can jump again." Riley stared at the empty space where Vexandra's ship had been. "She's made her point. She wanted us to know that she can find us anywhere, anytime." "But why let us go?" Dr. Kim asked. Riley thought about the way Vexandra had dressed, the formal clothes and styled hair. "Because this is some kind of game to her. She's not just hunting us, she's courting us. In her own twisted way, they jumped to a new system, but Riley knew it wouldn't matter. Sure enough, 2 days later, they found something waiting for them at their destination. It was a small probe, sleek and beautiful, made from the same crystal material as Vexandra's ship. It hovered near their planned route, clearly intended to be found. Should we destroy it? Torres asked. No, Riley said after a moment. Bring it aboard, carefully. The probe turned out to be a gift. Inside its crystal shell was a collection of items that made Riley's skin crawl. There was a star chart showing the locations of dozens of worlds, each marked with symbols that Dr. Kim eventually translated as conquered. There were images of various alien species, all bowing before figures that looked like Vexandra, and there was a message for my chosen one. The message read in perfect English. These worlds could be yours to explore. These people could serve you as they serve me. All you need to do is stop running and accept what you are meant to become. Riley destroyed the probe immediately, but the message had been received. Vexandra wasn't just chasing them randomly. She was trying to tempt Riley with promises of power and adventure. Captain, Hayes called from his station. We're receiving multiple communications from nearby systems. It sounds like there are reports of a large alien ship asking questions about us. Riley's heart sank. She's not just following us, she's gathering information about us, about humans in general. The next few weeks turned into a nightmare of cat and mouse. Every time they thought they had found a safe harbor, Vexandra would appear. Sometimes she would attack other ships in the area, not to destroy them but to send a message. Sometimes she would leave more gifts, each one more elaborate than the last. The gifts were the worst part. Vexandra seemed to be learning about human culture, about what humans valued. She sent rare minerals, beautiful artworks from conquered worlds, even data files containing scientific discoveries that could advance human technology by decades. She's studying us, Dr. Kim observed after they found the latest gift, learning our weaknesses, our desires. Riley nodded grimly. She's trying to figure out what will make me say yes. The psychological pressure was incredible. Riley found herself jumping at shadows, second-guessing every decision. Her crew was getting nervous too, looking to her for answers she didn't have. Then Vexandra changed tactics again. Riley was in her quarters, trying to get some sleep, when the lights dimmed and a familiar voice filled the room. Hello, Riley, Vexandra said, her mental voice as clear as if she were standing right there. I hope you don't mind the intrusion. I wanted to talk to you privately. Riley sat up, looking round the empty room. How are you doing this? I am projecting myself to you, a small talent of my people. You cannot see me, but I can see you. And I must say, you look tired. Riley felt violated in a way she couldn't describe. What do you want? I want you to understand something, Vexandra said, her voice softer now. I'm not your enemy. I am offering you something precious. Do you know how rare it is to find someone who can resist my influence? Someone who challenges me simply by existing. I'm not a prize to be won, Riley said firmly. No, Vexandra agreed. You are much more than that. You are a puzzle I cannot solve, a challenge I cannot ignore. Every moment you resist me, you become more valuable to me. Riley stood up, pacing her small quarters. So what happens when you get bored? When the challenge is gone? That will never happen, Vexandra said with certainty. I have lived for 300 of your years. I have conquered worlds, commanded fleets, bent entire species to my will. Nothing has ever held my interest for long. But you are different. You make me feel things I have never felt before. Like what? Uncertainty, desire, the need to prove myself worthy of something rather than simply taking it. Vexandra's voice carried a note of wonder. You have changed me, Riley Chen. Whether you intended to or not, Riley felt a chill run down her spine. This was worse than anger or hatred. This was obsession. I won't give up, Riley said quietly. I won't stop running. I know, Vexandra replied, and Riley could hear the smile in her voice. That is part of what makes you so fascinating. But consider this. I have resources you cannot imagine. I have time that you do not. I can chase you for years, decades if necessary. Your crew will grow tired, your ship will need repairs, your supplies will run low. But I will always be here, waiting. The presence faded, leaving Riley alone in her quarters. She sat on her bunk, head in her hands, trying to process what she had just heard. Vexandra wasn't just hunting her. She was falling in love with the chase itself, with the challenge Riley represented. And that made her more dangerous than any weapon. Riley stood up and walked to her viewport, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, a powerful alien commander was planning her next move, thinking about her, obsessing over her. Computer, Riley said quietly, send a message to Starfleet Command. Priority 1. We need help. But even as she said it, Riley knew that conventional help wouldn't be enough. This wasn't a military problem or a diplomatic crisis. This was personal. And it was going to get much worse before it got better. In the distance, space itself seemed to shimmer, and Riley knew that Vexandra was still out there, still watching, still waiting for the perfect moment to make her next move. Riley should have known it was a trap, but the distress signal looked so real. Captain, we're picking up an emergency beacon, Torres reported, his voice urgent. It's coming from the Kepler system. Says it's a civilian transport with engine failure. Riley stared at the readings on her screen. After weeks of running from Vexandra, her crew was exhausted and jumpy. But they were still explorers, still human. They couldn't ignore people in danger. Could be another one of her tricks, Dr. Kim warned, looking up from her research station. Maybe, Riley admitted. But what if it's not? What if there really are people out there who need help? The debate lasted only minutes. Riley knew what she had to do. They were human, and humans helped each other. That's what made them different from hunters like Vexandra. Set course for the Kepler system, Riley ordered. But stay alert. If this is a trap, we'll need to be ready. The journey took 6 hours. When they arrived, they found exactly what the distress signal had promised. A small civilian ship floated dead in space, its engines dark and hull breached. In several places, there were life signs aboard. It looks legitimate, Torres said. Running deep scans, I'm reading about 20 people still alive in the emergency shelters. Riley made her decision. Prepare rescue teams. We're going in. The rescue took 3 hours. Riley worked alongside her crew, helping to evacuate frightened families and injured civilians. These weren't actors or illusions. These were real people who had been attacked by pirates and left to die. It was only when they had everyone safely aboard the Meridian that Riley realized her mistake. Captain, Hayes called from the bridge, his voice tight with fear. Long-range sensors are showing multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace. Big ones. Riley's blood turned to ice. She ran to the bridge and saw them on the view screen. 5 massive ships, all with the same crystal formations and flowing design as Vexandra's vessel. They had appeared in perfect formation, surrounding the Meridian completely. She used real people, Riley said quietly, the full scope of the trap becoming clear. She found people who actually needed help and used them as bait. Captain, incoming transmission, Hayes reported. Vexandra's image filled the screen, and Riley noticed immediately that something had changed. The alien commander looked pleased, more than pleased. She looked like someone who had just won a game she had been playing for a very long time. Hello, my dear Riley, Vexandra said, her mental voice carrying warmth that made Riley's skin crawl. I must commend you on your predictable nobility. I knew you would not be able to resist helping those in need. You put innocent people in danger just to catch me, Riley said, her voice shaking with anger. I did nothing of the sort, Vexandra replied smoothly. Those people were already in danger. Pirates had attacked them, left them to die. I simply waited until you heard their call for help. She smiled. I saved them by using them. Everyone wins. Riley realized with growing horror that Vexandra had been studying human behavior, learning to predict their responses. She had known Riley would never leave innocent people to die, even if it meant walking into a trap. What do you want? Riley asked. I want you to come aboard my ship, alone. Do this, and I will let your crew and the civilians go free. Refuse, and Vexandra gestured casually. and one of the surrounding ships powered up its weapons. Well, I think you understand. Riley looked around the bridge at her crew. Torres was pale but determined. Dr. Kim was calculating odds on her tablet. Hayes was waiting for orders. These people trusted her, followed her, believed in her. Captain, we can fight, Torres said quietly. We might be able to break through their line and get everyone killed in the process, Riley replied. She had run the numbers in her head already. 5 ships against 1, with civilians aboard. There was no way they could win. I need time to think, Riley said to Vexandra. Of course, but not too much time. I have been very patient, but my patience has limits. The transmission ended. Riley called a meeting in her ready room with her senior officers. The discussion was heated but brief. They all knew what had to be done. I'm going, Riley said finally. It's me she wants. No point in getting everyone else killed. Captain, we can't let you do this, Torres protested. She's dangerous. She's also our only chance of getting out of this alive, Riley replied. At least some of us. An hour later, Riley stood in the Meridian shuttle bay, preparing to transfer to Vexandra as ship. Her crew had gathered to see her off, their faces showing everything from anger to fear to determination. Don't give up on me, Riley told them. I'm not planning to stay her prisoner forever. We'll find a way to get you back, Torres promised. Riley nodded, hoping it was true. She climbed into the shuttle and launched toward the alien flagship. The docking bay she entered was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the Meridians. But it wasn't empty. Hundreds of beings stood in perfect formation, all watching her arrival. Riley recognized some of the species from Vexandra as earlier gifts, warriors from conquered worlds. Now serving their new commander, Vexandra herself was waiting at the center of the formation, dressed in what looked like ceremonial armor made from the same crystal material as her ship. She looked like a queen greeting an honored guest. Welcome to my home, Vexandra said as Riley stepped out of the shuttle. I have been looking forward to this moment for so long. Riley looked around. At the assembled crowd, quite a reception. They are here to witness history, Vexandra replied. The moment when the greatest challenge I have ever faced finally came to me willingly. I didn't come willingly. I came because you threatened innocent people. Vexandra waved a hand dismissively. Details. The important thing is that you are here. She gestured for Riley to follow her. Come. I have so much to show you. They walked through corridors that seemed to shift and change as they moved. The walls were alive, with flowing patterns of light, and Riley could hear something like music in the distance. Everything was designed to impress, to overwhelm the senses. This is beautiful, Riley admitted reluctantly. I hoped you would think so, Vexandra said, pleased. I have been preparing for your arrival. Everything you see has been arranged. With you in mind, they entered a vast chamber that took Riley's breath away. The walls were transparent, showing the star field outside. But somehow the space felt enclosed and intimate. Furniture that looked grown rather than made was arranged in conversation areas. Art from dozens of different worlds decorated the walls. This is to be your home, Vexandra announced. I have studied your species. Learn what humans find comfortable. You will want for nothing here. Riley turned to face her captor. Except freedom. Freedom is overrated, Vexandra replied. I offer you something far more valuable. Purpose. Meaning. The chance to stand beside someone who can reshape the galaxy. As your prisoner. As my chosen companion, Vexandra corrected. There is a difference. Riley walked to the transparent wall and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there. Her crew was probably planning a rescue that would get them all killed. She had to find a way to stop that from happening. What if I don't want to be your companion? Riley asked. Then you will stay here until you change your mind, Vexandra said simply. I am immortal, Riley. I have all the time in the universe to wait for you to see reason. Riley turned back to face her. And if I never change my mind, you will. Vexandra said with absolute certainty. I have studied you, learned your patterns, your desires. I know what you want even if you do not. You want to explore, to discover, to push the boundaries of what is possible. I can give you all of that and more. At what cost? At the cost of your stubborn independence. Vexandra replied, A small price for what I offer in return, Riley realized she was dealing with someone who genuinely believed she was offering a gift. In Vexandra's mind, this wasn't imprisonment, it was promotion. I need time to think, Riley said. Of course, I will have you shown to your quarters. We will speak again tomorrow. Vexandra moved closer, and Riley fought the urge to back away. Rest well, my dear Riley. Tomorrow we begin your real education. As guards escorted Riley to her quarters, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was in more danger than she had ever been in her life. Not physical danger, but something worse. The danger of losing herself completely to someone who saw her as a puzzle to be solved, rather than a person to be respected. Her quarters were luxurious beyond anything she had ever experienced. A bed that seemed to float in midair, walls that showed whatever view she desired, technology that anticipated her needs before she voiced them. It was a prison designed to make her forget she was a prisoner. Riley sat on the edge of the impossible bed and looked out at the stars. Her crew was out there somewhere, probably planning something desperate. She had to find a way to escape before they got themselves killed trying to rescue her. But as she studied the room around her, Riley realized that Vexandra had planned for everything. The walls were impenetrable, the door was sealed, and every comfort was designed to make her forget about the outside world she was trapped in. A golden cage, and somewhere in the depths of the ship, her captor was probably planning their next conversation. Riley had to find a way to turn the tables, to become the hunter instead of the prey. Riley had been Vexandra's prisoner for 2 weeks, and she was starting to understand how the alien commander's mind worked. Every morning, Vexandra would visit her luxurious prison, bringing gifts and stories of the world she had conquered. Every afternoon, they would have what Vexandra called conversations, but what Riley recognized as interrogation sessions. Every evening, Vexandra would leave her alone to think about everything they had discussed. It was a careful, methodical process designed to break down Riley's resistance one piece at a time. Tell me about your childhood, Vexandra said during one of their afternoon sessions. She was sitting across from Riley in the impossibly comfortable chairs, her silver eyes focused completely on her prisoner. Why? Riley asked, not looking up from the star charts. Vexandra had brought her to study, because I want to understand what made you into the person you are. What gave you such strength of will? Riley finally looked up. You want to know my weaknesses. You mean? Vexandra smiled, not bothering to deny it. I want to know everything about you. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, your dreams. I want to understand you completely, so you can control me, so I can care for you properly. Vexandra corrected. A good leader knows her people. I intend to be very good to you, Riley. Riley set down the star charts and really looked at her captor. Vexandra was beautiful in an alien way, graceful and powerful and completely focused on her. But there was something else there too, something Riley was just beginning to recognize. Loneliness. You don't have friends, do you? Riley asked suddenly. Vexandra's expression flickered for just a moment. I have subjects, servants, warriors who would die for me, but no friends. No one who chooses to be with you just because they like you. I do not need such things, Vexandra said, but her voice had lost some of its certainty. Riley leaned forward, studying the alien commander's face. When was the last time someone disagreed with you? I mean, really disagreed, not just about tactics or strategy, but about something important? My subjects know better than to question my judgment. That wasn't what I asked, Riley pressed. When was the last time someone told you that you were wrong about something that mattered? Vexandra was quiet for a long moment when she spoke. Her voice was softer than Riley had ever heard it, not for many years, perhaps not for decades. That must be incredibly lonely. I'm not lonely, Vexandra snapped, standing up abruptly. I am powerful. I am feared. I am respected across 100 worlds, but you're not loved. Riley said quietly, at least, not the way humans understand love, not chosen freely, without fear or obligation. Vexandra stared at her, and Riley could see something cracking in those perfect silver eyes. You do not understand what you are talking about, don't I? Riley stood up too, moving closer to her captor. You've conquered worlds, commanded armies, bent entire species to your will, but you've never had someone choose to be with you just because they wanted to. That's why I fascinate you so much. I'm the first person you've met who can't be forced to love you. Love is weakness, Vexandra said, but she sounded like she was trying to convince herself. Is it? Then why are you trying so hard to win mine? The question hung in the air between them. Vexandra's composure was cracking, and Riley could see the uncertainty underneath. This powerful alien commander was as lost as a child when it came to real relationships. I could force you, Vexandra said finally. My people have ways, mental techniques that could make you devoted to me. But you haven't, Riley pointed out. Why? Because, Vexandra struggled with the words, because it would not be real. And I find that I want something real from you. Riley felt a surge of something that might have been pity. Vexandra, you can't force someone to love you. That's not how it works. Then how does it work? The question came out like a plea. Riley realized she had found her opening. It works through trust, through shared experiences, through choosing to be vulnerable with someone and having them choose the same. I did not understand. Riley walked over to the transparent wall that showed the stars outside. Watch this, she said, and then did something she had never done. In front of anyone, she started to cry, not dramatic sobs, just quiet tears as she thought about her crew, her ship, the life she had lost. She let Vexandra see her pain, her fear, her loneliness. Why are you doing this? Vexandra asked, moving closer. Because this is what trust looks like, Riley said, wiping her eyes. I'm showing you something real about myself, something that makes me vulnerable. That's how humans connect with each other. Vexandra stared at her as if she had revealed some impossible secret. You are afraid. Of course I'm afraid. I'm trapped on an alien ship, held prisoner by someone who could kill me without thinking twice about it. I'm terrified. But you do not beg. You do not grovel. You show me your fear as if it were a gift, because it is, Riley said. Trust is always a gift. You can't take it by force. Vexandra was quiet for a long time, processing this new information. When she spoke, her voice was uncertain. I have never, no one has ever shown you their real self, been vulnerable with you. My people do not show weakness to their leaders. It would be inappropriate. Riley turned to face her captor. Fully, that's not weakness, Vexandra. That's humanity. Real connection requires both people to be real. I do not know how to be real, Vexandra admitted, and for the first time since Riley had met her, the alien commander looked truly lost. Start small, Riley suggested. Tell me something about yourself that you've never told anyone, something that makes you feel vulnerable. Vexandra hesitated, clearly struggling with the concept. Finally, she spoke. I was not always a commander. When I was young, I was different, weaker than my siblings. They called me soft because I did not enjoy the conquest games. What changed? I learned to be what my people expected. I became hard, ruthless, powerful. I buried the soft parts of myself so deep that I forgot they existed. Vexandra's voice dropped to a whisper. Until I met you. Riley felt something shift between them. This wasn't the predatory alien commander speaking. This was someone who had lost herself long ago and was just beginning to remember who she used to be. What were you like before? Riley asked gently. Curious, I wanted to explore, to learn about other species. I thought perhaps we could find friends among the stars rather than just subjects. Vexandra's expression was distant, remembering. My father said such thoughts were childish. That strength was the only thing that mattered. But you still think about it sometimes. More often since meeting you, Vexandra admitted. You make me remember things I thought I had forgotten. Riley realized she was seeing something incredible. This powerful alien conqueror was changing, questioning everything she had believed about herself and her people, and Riley was the catalyst. Vexandra, Riley said carefully, what if there was another way? What if you didn't have to choose between being strong and being soft? What do you mean? I mean, what if you could be both? What if you could be a leader who was strong enough to show kindness? Powerful enough to choose mercy? Vexandra stared at her as if she had suggested something impossible. My people would never accept such weakness from their leader, would they? Or have you just never given them the chance to see a different kind of strength? The alien commander was quiet for a long time, her silver eyes distant as she processed this new possibility. When she spoke, her voice was small and uncertain. I do not know how to be different than what I am. You're already different, Riley said. The fact that you're having this conversation with me proves that the old Vexandra would have just used force. But what if I try to change and fail? What if I become weak again? Riley moved closer, close enough to reach out and touch Vexandra's arm. The alien commander flinched at the contact, but didn't pull away. Then you fail, Riley said simply. But at least you'll fail as yourself, not as someone you were forced to become. Vexandra looked down at Riley's hand on her arm, as if she had never seen such a simple gesture of comfort before. I do not understand you, Riley Chen. You are my prisoner, yet you offer me kindness. You should hate me. Maybe I should. Riley agreed. But I see who you really are underneath all that armor you've built around yourself. And that person is worth saving. For the first time since Riley had known her, Vexandra's composure completely cracked. She sat down heavily, her head in her hands, and Riley could see her whole worldview crumbling around her. I have done terrible things, Vexandra whispered, conquered worlds, enslaved species, destroyed anyone who opposed me. How can such a person be worth saving? Riley sat down beside her, not touching but close enough to offer comfort. Because you're willing to question those things now. Because you're willing to consider that there might be a better way. That's the first step toward becoming someone different. But the things I have done can't be undone, Riley finished. But they don't have to define what you do next. They sat in silence for a while. Two very different beings from different worlds, slowly beginning to understand each other. And Riley realized that somewhere in the process of trying to survive her capture, she had accidentally begun to care about her captor. The alarm started blaring at exactly 3 in the morning, ship time. Riley bolted upright in her luxurious bed as red lights flashed through her quarters. Through the transparent walls, she could see explosions lighting up the darkness of space. Her crew had found her. No, Riley muttered, rushing to the wall. The Meridian was out there, along with what looked like 3 other human ships, all firing desperately at Vexandra's massive fleet. They were hopelessly outgunned. The door to her quarters slid open, and Vexandra stormed in, her face twisted with rage. She was back in her battle armor, the gentle, uncertain person Riley had been talking to for weeks, buried under layers of commander's fury. Your people are attacking my fleet, Vexandra snarled. Did you call them here? How could I? Riley shot back. You've kept me locked up with no way to communicate. Then how did they find you? Riley thought fast. Torres is smart. He probably tracked the energy signatures from your ship. Or maybe he followed the trail of gifts you left us. Does it matter? You have to stop this fight before they all get killed. Vexandra moved to the wall display, her fingers dancing over alien controls. The view shifted to show the battle in detail. Riley's heart sank as she watched the small human ships darting between Vexandra's massive vessels like insects attacking. Giants! They cannot win, Vexandra said coldly. Why do they persist? Because they came for me. Riley said quietly, because that's what humans do. We don't abandon each other, even when it means certain death, especially then. Vexandra stared at the display, watching the unequal battle. One of the human ships took a hit and started spinning out of control. Riley recognized it as the destroyer Constellation, probably carrying 100 people. Stop this, Riley begged. Please. They're dying out there. Then tell them to surrender. Vexandra replied without turning around. You know they won't. And you know you don't want to kill them either. Vexandra's hand froze over the controls. What do you mean? The person I've been talking to for the past few weeks wouldn't slaughter brave people who are just trying to save their friend. That person would find another way. That person is weak, Vexandra said, but her voice lacked conviction. That person is you, Riley pressed. The real you, not the mask you wear for your empire. On the display, the Meridian took a glancing blow that sent it tumbling. Riley could see escape pods launching, which meant Torres was evacuating non-essential personnel. He was preparing for a fight to the death. If you kill them, you'll have to kill me too, Riley said suddenly. Vexandra spun around. What? You think I could live with myself knowing my friends died trying to save me? You think I could ever forgive you for that? If they die out there, then whatever we've built between us dies with them. Vexandra's silver eyes were wide with something that might have been panic. You cannot mean that. Try me, Riley said, moving closer. You want the real me? The person who chooses to be with you rather than the prisoner who has no choice? Then prove you're someone worth choosing. The alien commander stared at her. The battle raging outside forgotten for a moment. Riley could see the war going on. Behind those silver eyes, the struggle between the conqueror she had been trained to be and the person she was beginning to. Remember, I do not know how to stop being what I am, Vexandra whispered. Yes, you do, Riley said gently. You know exactly what to do. You just have to be brave enough to do it. Another explosion lit up the darkness outside. The human ships were running out of time. Vexandra closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and touched her communication controls. All ships, cease fire. She commanded, her voice carrying across the fleet channels. I repeat, all ships cease fire immediately. Commander, came a confused voice from one of her captains. The humans are still attacking. I said cease fire, Vexandra repeated, her voice stronger now. Any ship that disobeys this order will answer to me personally. The alien weapons stopped firing. In the sudden silence, the human ships seemed to hesitate, unsure what was happening. Open a channel to the human fleet, Vexandra ordered. Torres' face appeared on the display, battered and bleeding but still defiant. This is Lieutenant Commander Torres of the UES Meridian. We're here for our captain. I know why you are here, Vexandra replied, and I am impressed by your loyalty. Just give us Riley back, and we'll leave. Vexandra looked at Riley, who nodded encouragingly. Your captain is unharmed. But before I release her, I want you to understand something. She has changed me, made me question everything I believed about strength and power. Torres frowned, clearly confused. What are you saying? I'm saying that your captain has shown me a different way to be strong, and I want to try to be worthy of the choice she might make. Riley stepped into view of the camera. Torres, I'm okay. She's not what we thought she was. Captain, Torres looked relieved but still suspicious. Are you being coerced? No, Riley said, glancing at Vexandra. I'm being given a choice, a real choice. Vexandra moved to stand beside Riley, her posture formal but not threatening. I offer this proposal. Your captain may leave with you, free and unharmed. But I also offer her the chance to return, if she chooses, not as my prisoner, but as my, she struggled with the word, advisor, to help me learn how to lead without conquest. You're offering to let her go, Torres asked, clearly not believing it. I am offering her freedom, Vexandra said, true freedom, which includes the freedom to return if she wishes. Riley looked at her former captor with new understanding. You're really going to let me leave? Yes, Vexandra said, though Riley could see how much the decision cost her, because keeping you prisoner was never going to give me what I really wanted. And what did you really want? Vexandra's voice was soft, almost vulnerable. Someone who chose to be with me. Someone who saw value in who I could become. Not just fear of who I am. Riley felt her heart twist. In the space of a few weeks, this powerful alien commander had become someone completely different. Someone who was willing to give up everything she thought she wanted for the chance at something real. I need time to think, Riley said. Of course, Vexandra nodded. Take all the time you need. 2 hours later, Riley stood in the same docking bay where she had first been brought as a prisoner. But this time, she was free to leave. Her shuttle was fueled and ready, her crew waiting for her return. Vexandra was there to see her off, along with what looked like half her command staff. But the alien commander's attention was focused entirely on Riley. I want you to know, Vexandra said. Quietly, that meeting you has been the most important thing that has ever happened to me. Whatever you decide, I will always be grateful for the person you helped me become. Riley studied her face, seeing the uncertainty there, the hope, the fear. What will you do now? I will try to be the leader you helped me see I could be. I will try to rule through respect rather than fear. It will not be easy. But Vexandra smiled, and for the first time Riley saw genuine warmth there. I think I am finally ready to try being myself. Riley made her decision. She walked to her shuttle, turned back one last time, and said, Vexandra? Yes, this isn't goodbye. I'm going back to my ship, to my crew, to my life. But in 6 months, I'll be passing through this sector again. If you're serious about changing, about learning to lead differently, Riley paused, choosing her words carefully. I might be willing to help. Vexandra's face lit up like a sunrise. You mean it, I mean it, but not as your prisoner, not as your possession, as your friend. If you can learn what that means, I will learn, Vexandra promised. I will spend every day until then learning. Riley nodded and climbed into her shuttle. As she lifted off, she could see Vexandra watching from the docking bay, surrounded by her confused but loyal crew. Back on the Meridian, Riley's crew peppered her with questions about what had happened, how she had escaped, what the alien commander had really wanted. Riley answered as best she could, but she kept the most important parts to herself. She had gone into that alien ship as a prisoner and come out as something she never expected to be, the catalyst for change in an entire civilization. So what now, Captain? Torres asked as they set course for home. Riley looked out at the stars, thinking about silver eyes and the promise of friendship across the void. Now we continue our mission. We explore, we learn, we help people who need it, and in 6 months, Riley smiled, in 6 months, we find out if people can really change. If someone who was raised to conquer can learn to cooperate instead. And if she can't, then at least we gave her the chance to try, Riley said. That's what humans do. We believe in second chances, in the possibility that anyone can become better than they were. As the Meridian jumped to hyperspace, Riley thought about the choice she had made. She had given Vexandra something no one else ever had, the freedom to change, and the promise that someone would be waiting to see if she succeeded. It was the most human thing she could have done, and she hoped it would be enough.